Well, Saturday, of course, marks the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks that prompted 2 decades of US presence in Afghanistan. To look further into how the past 20 years have shaped the world, we're joined by Andrew Bacevich, a retired US Army colonel, president of the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft, and the author of several books on US security policy. Thanks very much for joining us on Euronews tonight. You've been very critical of that US policy. Has the country achieved any of the goals it set out to achieve in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks?
Well, there are those who claim that we achieved the goal of preventing a repetition of 9/11. I would reject that. It seems to me that we have managed to avoid another terrorist attack because in the intervening 20 years, we have erected very effective defenses. For example, airport security. As for the two major wars that ensued, first Afghanistan and then Iraq, I would say that both of those have produced catastrophic failure, have not worked substantially to the benefit of either the Afghan or the Iraqi people, and the United States has paid a horrendous cost, both in terms of dollars and blood.
And looking ahead in terms of security, first for Afghanistan, what are the prospects for the country? We've got the Taliban in power, but how much do they control the various groups? We've seen the ISIS-K bomb at Kabul airports. There's Al-Qaeda perhaps still present. How would you sum up the situation?
Yeah, I don't want to pretend to be an expert on Afghanistan, but it does seem to me that the Taliban are in a transitional phase here, assuming power, trying to gain control. I don't know if we should take seriously their vows to take a more moderate approach this time than last time, but let's wait and see. Beyond that, I think the future of Afghanistan is likely to be determined by the region in which Afghanistan exists. Afghanistan's neighbors who disagree on many things, I think probably share a common interest in preventing Afghanistan from descending into absolute chaos. They have a shared interest in Afghan stability, and we'll wait and see, but I would expect that those neighbors would exert themselves cooperatively to try to maintain some level of stability even under Taliban rule.
And looking at the wider world, given what you say about the US record being so bad over the last 20 years, is the world a safer place than it was then?
Not particularly. And in a way, I think I'd want to redefine the question. Does the United States and its partners have in place right now an effective response to the actual security challenges that we face? What are they? Well, they are climate. They are, in the U.S., also in Europe, I think, porous borders. They include disease. And the answer there is that the United States, and I think its major allies, are struggling to find an effective response. The bottom line is we all need to have a fundamentally different conception of what national security and international security should entail, one that would lead to fewer wars, failed wars, such as those in Afghanistan and Iraq, and lead to more effective international cooperation to deal with the threats that we share in common, that we're all facing.
Andrew Bacevich from the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. Thanks very much for joining us there from Walpole in the United States.